Well, good morning, everybody. Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal on a interesting looking day. Cloudy, 13 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which I believe would make it about 55 in American. I probably look like I'm dressed for midwinter. There's a reason for that. I am getting very tired of being that cold at work. I don't know who's controlling the temperature, but whoever it is apparently doesn't feel the cold. And so I'm dressing accordingly. Yesterday I was really cold. I was amazed, and I understand that there are a couple of other people who also are very cold, but the last time I asked for the heat to be put up, it caused quite a scene. So this is called Plan B, and if Plan B doesn't work, I'll be ordering a heater just for my area, because it's ridiculous. So I'm not being victim to it, I am just making a different plan. And maybe I am feeling the cold more than most. It's interesting because there are a couple of people who are really feeling it as well, so it makes me feel better that I'm not the only one. So I've got a nice snuggly cardigan on, and this sweater that I've got underneath is actually a short sleeved one, so it goes down to about here, I think, sort of mid length. And so that means that if it gets warmer, or if I'm doing sort of more strenuous stuff at work, you know, I can take my snuggly off and hopefully I'll be fine. I'll let you know about that. It's Thursday. Did I mention that? It's Thursday, and for those of you who don't know, that's a very important day in my life because I don't work on Fridays. So TGIT. Now, one of the viewers wrote to me and asked me if I was going to go to Hawaii to be with Benji and Judy and the children. And the family, and I actually had to tell them that unfortunately no, I'd used my holiday days for this year. But I am hoping that maybe one year that we'll all go together. So we will see what we will see. Especially it's on my bucket list. So I'm looking forward to it, being able to get a chance to experience it. Now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you have already been to Hawaii, but it's not somewhere where I've ever been. It's interesting places I've got left on my bucket list. There aren't very many because I've been to so many places in the world. So that would be my question. What's left on your bucket list of places you'd like to visit? And one of the things that I'm really fortunate in is just how many places I have visited. And I did what I really would encourage people to do, or encourage your children or grandchildren to do, which is travel while you're young. Because you never know you're going to get old. And when I say you never know if you're going to get old, but you know, how many people do you know that have had their lives cut short? And if you just say, oh, I'll travel when I retire, you may never make it that far. The other reason I really encourage people to travel when they're young is because it gives you a different perspective of what rich is and what poor is and what entitlement looks like, and all those sort of issues, those social issues. I don't think anybody travels overseas without coming back with a very healthy reality on life. One of the things that always used to frustrate me in my life was people who had all these ideas of what rich and poor looked like, and they'd never traveled outside their own city. They'd never seen poor. They'd never seen, if you don't work, you don't eat, to the extent that other people have. And therefore they felt that they were entitled to certain things. I think entitlement is a very difficult thing. It's insidious in some ways. It really, I think entitlement is something that it can keep you really stuck. If you think you're entitled to something and you're not prepared to go out and get it, you become very bitter if you don't get it. And so a lot of people will spend their lives feeling entitled but never receiving. And yet I know so many people who didn't feel they were entitled at all, but really wanted something and went out and got it. And they're very happy to have it. So you look at it and you go, wow. So I just wondered, you know, what places in the world would you really like to visit, and why? Now it's strange, I have absolutely no wish, I don't know why, to visit any cold places. I have not got a big hankering to go visit Alaska, for example. I've been to the Yukon, and that's about as cold as I want to be. I thought minus 32 was pretty cold. And I'm going, it was chilly. And I was glad to go home to minus 10. It was midwinter for me, but it was just like, no, let me go home to minus 10. It will feel like a heat wave, and it did. Again, traveling gives you a different perspective on life. I almost took my coat off at minus 10 because it felt so much warmer. So where would you like to go visit? And do you know that you can visit there anytime you want to? I think one of the real joys of today's technology is that you can go and visit anywhere you want to in the world. So how many of you have taken a virtual vacation? I'm sorry for the noise. I've got a sensor that keeps triggering. Now, although it's a warning sensor, I do need to tell you that we are checking the levels that it's telling me about, and there's nothing wrong with the levels. It's just the sensor that has died or dying. So if you hear that occasionally, just don't get too panicky, because I know you would care about that, or think I'm totally deaf. Yes, I just wondered if any of you have decided to take a virtual vacation. Or, for example, visited a virtual museum, for those of you who are interested in doing that on your bucket list. And if you're feeling a bit stressed out, if you're feeling a bit unloved, if you're feeling a bit whatever, have you thought about just clicking on Google Images and typing it in whatever it is that you would like, that would make you feel relaxed? You know, if beaches do it for you, you know, just type in beautiful beaches and spend half an hour just looking at beautiful beaches, and tell me at the end of that if you don't feel a whole lot better. And I know some of you aren't able to get out of bed and go visit beaches and go do things like that, but I'm pretty sure that you've learned how to take a vacation without leaving your home. I would also, you know, check YouTube for people who'd been to those places, because I'm certain today everybody's vlogging those places to death. So go watch somebody else's vacation and be there with them in some way. I think it's the same way that we are able to virtually experience great amusement and great love. I mean, if you haven't done it, I'm sure everybody has by now. You know, you spend half an hour looking at puppies online and you're going to be smiling a lot. Or how about kittens scaring puppies, you know, or or whatever it is. I watched a documentary over the weekend, and some of you may know the story about the baby elephant that actually got orphaned, and for some reason they decided to get a sheep to keep it company, because it was such a little thing at the time. And this baby elephant and the sheep were buds for some years. And it was just such a great story about how they took each other for walks every day and how they snuggled up together at night, and they definitely formed an incredible bond, and they played like mad. I mean, it was lovely to watch them play. And I must admit I smiled a lot when watching that story. Now, I think that's one of the joys of what of what we can do to change our mood or change our lives. So have a look at what's on your bucket list. Feel free to leave some comments on it, and if anybody has found some really good footage of whatever it is that they want to go see, let's help each other out on that, because I'm pretty sure that there are ways to do it. Even if you don't have the money to go, you have the ability to go in your mind. Now, the other thing, some of you will be very aware of visualization. And visualization is just where you relax your mind enough and you can take yourself anywhere in the unreal world. I cannot tell you how many times I have been absolutely stressed out and I've just taken the time to just do a meditation and go walk through a field of flowers, or go sit by a babbling brook that looks like it came out of a fairy tale. With lots of vivid colors and just a little exaggerated all around, but boy, does it make you feel good. And again, I wonder how many of you have studied the art of meditation. When you think about it, though, what I'm really talking about is being proactive. You can sit there and complain and say, oh, I don't have the money to go to Hawaii, or I don't have the money to go to whatever. But as long as you have access to the internet, you have the means. And you're going to say, well, it's not the same. Well, no, it's a lot cheaper. And if you don't believe that you can't feel the sun, then you're looking superficially, you're not really feeling the emotion. And that's the other thing. When you look at these pictures, really see yourself in the picture. Really see yourself on that beach. If you like going mountain climbing, really see yourself, climbing the mountain. And I can assure you that you will get a lot of the feelings that you would get. And I'm certain that there are some of you who've directly or indirectly, had relationships online, met people and friendships, and those people will tell you that, the online relationship, you can actually feel all those emotions. And the people who've never had them will tell you, no, it's just make-believe. Well, what is love if it isn't make-believe? And you see, I'm a great believer that love is a very selfish thing in an interesting way. Don't react too much, people, because I know you're going to tell me that love actually is a very unselfish thing. But let me finish my sentence. The reason I think that love is a very selfish thing is love is the feeling I get when I'm around somebody I really like. It's how I feel when I'm around that person. Therefore, it's very selfish. And by the way, when I'm in that zone, I will forgive them almost anything. Have you noticed that? You want to wash your socks by throwing them down the toilet. Suddenly it's quite amusing. As long as you're in love. Oh gosh, I could spend a week talking about that one, right? So being on vacation is a feeling. It's a feeling of relaxation, and you can get that. And you know that being on vacation is a feeling of excitement. There is some stress, as we all know. So part of what's interesting in vacation is that you come back and really appreciate where you've been and really appreciate your home. One of the things I used to spend a lot of time doing was to go on vacation with my trailer. I have a caravan, for those of you who are in England. I have a really great trailer, and I can live in that trailer for a couple of weeks and be quite happy, thank you, quite content. And it's interesting because you live in that tin can for a couple of weeks, and you come home to your house and you suddenly go, wow, do I really need this much space? And then you start opening cupboards and realize how many of your closets are just filled with junk that you don't really need. And how come I could live for 2 weeks with very little in my kitchen, and yet in my kitchen at home I've got so much? And I guess that's the secret of decluttering, is do we really need all this stuff? So have a look at that. Lots of subjects today without even meaning to. So here's the thing. Have a look at your bucket list. Do you have one, by the way? How many of you actually have a bucket list? Things you'd like to do. I hope everybody's safe. You always think that if there's a fire engine going with lots of lights that probably somebody isn't. Did I ever tell you that one? It's a tip of the day, actually. I don't know where you live, but definitely here in Canada, if ever you need an ambulance in a hurry, call the fire brigade. Now, the reason I'm saying that, I know that sounds really strange, but the fire brigade will come, and they've got paramedics, so you know whoever you're dealing with is going to get attention. But the other thing is they will make an assessment, and if they believe an ambulance is needed in a hurry, they will make the call. And when they make the call, the ambulance comes immediately. It's amazing the difference. And you can have 12 people phoning into the hospital calling for an ambulance, and they will, do them in whatever triage order they think. But if the fire department calls for an ambulance, an ambulance arrives pretty damn quickly. So there's the tip of the day. The reason we found that out was because we had somebody at work who had slipped and fallen on the ice and broken her leg, and was obviously in excruciating pain. And we called for an ambulance, and we waited a long time. And then somebody said, let's call the fire department. We all went, what? And we did. And guess what? The fire department came, they took one look at her leg, and they picked up their phone, and I want to tell you something, there was an ambulance there within minutes. And they got her out of pain in a hurry. Actually, did they? I have to check on that, because a part of me goes, they might not have been allowed to, because sometimes you need to know where the pain is to know exactly what's happened. I'll ask her. She's a colleague at work, so I'll ask her. All right, everybody, so if you've got a bucket list and can't afford to go to the places that you have on it, take half an hour in your life and go visit one of them today, or this week, or this weekend. Just literally take half an hour and relax. Or if you want to sit by the ocean and you can't afford it, then search the internet for music of waves crashing against a beach, and close your eyes and just imagine yourself there, and just notice how incredibly relaxed you feel. Okay, everybody, that's looking after yourself. And don't forget to look after everybody else as well as you can. But most of all, do look after yourself. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.